The function call operator is used to make function calls. It can be used with functions, pointers, and even with objects. Let's make a working copy of funcop.cpp, and we'll paste that into our working project and double-click on it to open it up in the editor. And so here we have a simple little function. It takes an integer and it returns an integer. And so we've declared an integer here, and we're assigning to that integer from the function, passing it a 47, and of course, it will return a 47. So we'll go ahead and run that, and we see it says this is f when it's running the function itself, and it says I is 47. So that's what we expect to have happen. And this is the function call operator. It's the parentheses, and you can put inside of the parentheses any arguments that you have to send to the function. Now, if we were to declare a pointer to this function, I'll show you a lot of what goes on here with that operator. So the function returns an int, and we need to know the exact function signature because it will not work if we don't get that straight, and I'll show you what happens. So a pointer to a function looks like that. And I can assign to it, I can say pfunc equals ampersand f. And remember, the ampersand operator is the address of, so it's taking the address of our function called f. And so a function is effectively a type. And I have this variable of type function, which is f, and it refers to this function here. And I'm simply taking the address of it and I'm assigning it to this pointer. Now, the syntax for the pointer to a function is admittedly a little bit obtuse, but it's not that hard to remember. You have the function pointer itself inside the parentheses, and that's just because to just say asterisk pfunc, it doesn't tell the compiler that this is a function type. And so we need a pointer to the function type. So we put it in the parentheses, and then we have whatever parameters are part of that function signature. And remember that the function type itself includes what it returns, and it includes the function signature, what goes inside of the parentheses. So that's all part of the function signature. So here we have a pointer to a function that returns an int and takes an int as a parameter. And I take that pointer and I assign the address of the function to it, and then I call it. And so I call it like this. And that will call the function through the pointer rather than directly. So we'll save this and we'll run it, and we see that we get exactly the same result. Now, obviously, we can do the assignment on the same line. So we do the initialization there on the same line that we declare it, and that still works just fine. I'm going to save that and run it. And you'll notice that if I take this int out of the parentheses, I now have a different type. And so it's not compatible, and that assignment will not work. So I'll save that and try to compile it and run it. And you see that I get an error right here, invalid conversion from, and there you've got the two types. The function call operator is commonly used for calling a function, but as you can see, it's actually very powerful and flexible in its own. We'll cover function objects and overloading function operators in more detail later on in the classes and objects chapter. Let's delete the working file and run clean to get set up for the next lesson.